What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Match My Smoke, and I'm the host with the quotes, JB the Oracle. Now, we here today with another special guest, person who's out here making moves, doing their thing, educating us, making sure we know the latest and greatest when it comes to information in the industry on the consumer side, for sure, and just influencing people in a bundle of joy. We have the founder of Hippie Vibes, influencer, educator, advocate, Monique Tha Great. Let's give her a round of applause, Aaron. Let's give her a round of applause.
I can go.
Thank
But
you.
you want me to go?
Thank you, Monique, for being on the show. We appreciate you taking the time. You know, we've been seeing you everywhere right now, just tearing it up. We've been seeing you with dispensaries and we concerts and influencing with the interviews and all that. What's been going on and how you been, Monique?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much, JB, for just having me on your platform. I am super honored. I am super like, this is a surreal moment because I've heard of high res and what you're doing, in Chicago. And I'm like, that was definitely on my vision board to work with you and to even be on your podcast is just everything. So first, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for those kind words. And we done made the vision board, y'all. Y'all check that out. I Rez, you heard it here first. Thank you, though. We appreciate that. We've been definitely trying to expand the reach. So when we hear things like that, it just keep motivating us to go. But you just been hitting the gas right now. You know, we've been inspired by your hustle. Your boldness in your lane. Like you came out swinging. You're not playing no games. So Monique, for the people who aren't familiar with you, tell them a little bit about your business and then the things that you do.
My name is Monique. I'm the founder of Hippie Vibes. We advocate for clean consumption, and we also help cannabis brands start or scale their business by offering them digital offers like guides, vendors lists, so forth and so on. So that's a little bit about what Hippie Vibes does. Um, Lately, I just been really just like he said, I've been hustling on these internet streets, really just connecting, just getting out of my comfort zone and just networking, putting myself out there, not caring what people think, getting the information out there, whether or not people want to hear it or not. But, it's the people that really look like us that need it the most. So that's a little bit about what we do and who I am.
Now, what would you say sparked that and was your primary mission in the beginning before launching the things that you're doing now?
So at first, I'm not gonna say it was the blind leading the blind, but I really didn't have a mission at the time because I just really enjoy consuming cannabis. So I started my YouTube channel back in 2019, which is Hippie Vibes. And I would just do reviews. I would try like black market brands and I would just, you know, uh review them on my channel. And I would start and stop, start and stop. But when I went to Vietnam over this summer, I had went for a mental health break. I don't know if you like seen my content when I was in Vietnam, but I had went for a mental health break. And when I was there, I was just praying, praying, praying. And I heard the universe just say, if you love cannabis so much, go full time. Like, stop pussyfooting this. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
I hope I don't get trouble. I hope I don't get trouble to say that. So when I came back from Vietnam, I just hit the ground running. I was still doing joints. I was still like reviewing different strands. And this is before any brand knew who I was. I was just buying it, going to dispensaries, buying it, doing that. Then
The grind.
I got introduced. Exactly. I got introduced to clean consumption. And though I never seen what clean cannabis looked like, I knew that I was allergic to weed. So 2 years ago, I found that I was allergic to cannabis, which is the plant. And what would happen is when I touch it, I break it down to my little papers. I'd be breaking down the highs. I'd be wheezing. And I didn't know what was going on until I went to see an allergist. The allergist told me to stop smoking cannabis and told me, just leave it alone altogether and prescribe me an EpiPen. So fast forward, come May after Vietnam, I got introduced to clean consumption. dads, honey, what people, you know, smoke out of, well, smoke. And I fell in love with it and I took Instagram on a journey. I said, hey, this is my first day of learning how to dab. It's not gonna be right, but if y'all want to come in and help me out, let's do it. And it blew up from there. So I changed my niche from just smoking weed and just doing that to educate people on clean consumption. So that's
Absolutely.
why I like to tell he advocate for that.
And that was one of the reasons, we wanted to bring you on to ask you just, the whole you being allergic, that's what caught my attention and wanted to get more information on that. And, I'm curious to know how many people out there have experienced some of the same symptoms and experiences that you have. So then you had this journey, it took you to more of a cleaner consumption. And then where'd you go from there?
So where did I go from there? I just like I said, I started on IG and I will be on my stories because Instagram had disabled me twice. So Instagram had disabled me twice and I came back over to Monique the Great page because Monique the Great was my mommy and me because I'm a kind of mom, but I really wasn't showing a lot of my consumerism on Instagram. I was showing more on Facebook because, like I said, I started YouTube back in 2019.
Yeah.
So people knew that I smoked, but they didn't know that I was heady as fuck, you know? So as I grew in this journey, I just started just networking with people, um, just getting on the Chicago scene. Like I ended up bumping into you. I ended up bumping into Daniel, who introduced me to the dispensary sociale. I ended up getting like brand deals with the Flower Expo, shout out to Flower Expo. That was the first people that really believed in me and said, "Hey, here's a media pass. I want you to shoot a recap video." So it just started from there, and I just kept. I get the information, I get the numbers, and I follow up. Hey, this is my media day. Hey, can you give me a chance? Whatever I have to do. So I wasn't afraid of serving. That was next. I served. Hey, can you come and do a video? Absolutely. Hey, can you do this? Because I know that the more I do for people, the more people's gonna do for me. It's just principle.
Now I know you said that in the beginning, you really didn't have a clear mission. You just was really just kind of blogging life as you was living it. But in that, did you ever think, especially this far in the journey, did you ever think, okay, the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm actually putting out there, especially being a can of mom and all the things around you, that you were helping pushing towards breaking some of the stigmas against cannabis?
Absolutely. So I knew that once got on here with a glass pipe, people was going to be negative, right? I knew that. However, you can't have light without the dark. So I was willing to go through that what word am I looking for? Execution, I guess, not execution. Like ridicule, like getting ridiculed. I don't know. Like I was willing to go through that to teach people, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
about clean clean cannabis. Cause all I seen was woods. Like if you gotta rinse off, no shade to y'all and smoke y'all woods, but I want you all to really picture something. Like if I have to rinse something off to smoke it, and it's black, you got a friend that rinse the wood off and cut it dry, and they open it. You like, wow, that's in my lungs. Like, we really have to, like, really
Yeah.
think. So
You're not lying.
when I thought of the yeah, so when I thought about that, I'm like, wow, and I came from a papers background. I was smoking papers. And I'm like, okay, bamboo is cute, right? It's cute, but something just wasn't right. So when I decided to do clean consumption and tell people about it, I knew that I was going to pioneer the space for Black people. I knew it. The person that introduced me to that told me like, "This is you're gonna be big," and I believed it and I ran with it.
Now let's just break it down a little further for people who just, don't know. And even myself, I know some things about clean consumption, but explain clean consumption to us and to the people.
So clean consumption, my definition, right? Clean consumption is using the plant, just using a cleaner method of consumption. So when I say consumption, a cleaner way of smoking, right? So you can say clean consumption would be papers, right? Because instead of using the nicotine from the wood, you can go to the papers, but it's levels to it. So okay, yeah, I'm in clean consumption, but I just smoke papers. If a person say that, whatever they believe is true. But my clean consumption definition is is doing dabs, right? Out here really getting honey, which is hash, you know. So what I love about hash rosin is it has no chemical. That's clean consumption to me. The weed, it has pesticides. When you growing it, I'm not a cultivator, but I've been around the block a few times. So when I see people mixing the stuff to put in the plant, all this you have to take. You got to take the matter, the what they call it. I just wanted about it. Shout out TSP. I was in Vegas with TSP, and it was a heady boot camp, and they were teaching me about carcinogens, the carcinogens, the cancers that you get from smoking. You don't get that from smoking out of a glass piece. You only get that for smoking woods, weed, papers, all those things.
Now, I mean, it's the black and tar and all that. I definitely get that, but smoke is smoke, right? It's still at some level damaging the lungs, in my opinion. Because I remember a long, long time ago where I had was first introduced to a dab rig. And I mean, I definitely choked my whole lungs out. It was the worst cough that I ever had. Now, I know it's levels to that where I was taught later on, it could have been temperature of it and somebody didn't have all the settings right. And, they could be right, but, the cough is crazy. So I'm like, tell me a little bit about that as far as, the smoke, cause you get heavy smoke yields, the cough is like crazy, but it's definitely, a different experience.
It's definitely a different experience, and it's just bigger than like the cough because that is a lot of people concerned. But my hit back to that is like, but look how people cough off woods. Like they be like it'd be crazy. It be getting decrepit to me, No shade, but and I used to be there, but when I look back and I see my people, I be like, wow, somebody gotta help our people, you know what I mean? But it's really all in your breathing. Like I bet every morning I go live on Retake, right? I go live on a platform called Retake. And what Retake does, it gives me a token, right? So I have my own hippie vibes token, and I'm pretty new over there. It's about a week. I get my own hippie vibes token that people can pay in crypto in, right? And it's all in the breathing. So I do my meditations, my read on there and everything. And the reason I do it on there is because one, it can be crypto. But the fast forward back over here, it's all about the breathing. So when I'm on retake in the morning, I show them how I'm breathing. When I'm checking my temperature. Like the cough, your coughing, I've seen dragons. I call them dragons. They can do a whole gram in one rip and not cough. They just turn red. Of course, of my brown, well, some of them be brown, but some of my Jewish brothers, some of my Italian brothers, they'll turn red. Some of my European brothers, they be turning red in the face after they do their rip. You know what I mean? And they don't cough. So it's all about, the education that you have, the technique. Because when I first did that, baby, I was taking a drag of it like a paper. And I say, and before you know it, I said, I can't have this. I'm crying. It's tears. It's not, you probably had that
Yeah.
experience.
Those them experienced lungs, you going back to your dragon comment, those them experienced lungs. Well, they've been doing it for a minute, for sure.
Yeah, but you don't even have to do it for a minute. Like I said, it's just all about your breathing. If you can do this and you don't have to take all the smoke in at once, like when I'm ripping it, you can breathe it out, take it back in. This is your world. This is your oyster. You're in control of this, So, but you gotta know that.
Right. She doing is this some of the stuff that you teach in the classes that you doing? And are you doing like formal classes or how does that go?
So I did have uh a guy, not a guy. I did have like a video course that I showed. It was intro into dabs, and then I did offer one-on-ones. But with me having my offers for the guy in the vendors list, if you give people too much, they will get confused and not buy nothing, right? So I had to make a decision. I said, well, right now I'm going to show people how to get their THCA license while doing dabs. But if you do by any chance want a lesson, you can always DM me or email me, at Hippie Vibes at hello@Hippie Vibes, and I can definitely help you out and walk you through. But it's not up there on my website like it was.
Mm. So let's transition a little bit into the content that you've been doing because we've been seeing you shooting content everywhere. As you mentioned earlier, you went abroad. We talked to you about a week or so ago. You were in Vegas shooting some content. Um, you are one person just production company right now, just shooting, editing, doing everything, and being a mom. Tell us about the time you been putting in this, and tell us about what is the next projects you're working on content wise.
Okay, so that was the match, baby. Okay.
I
And I
know.
want to know, can I take a rip? Can I take a rip on here?
You
Because I'm
can.
just jealous,
You
but I
can.
don't know for sure.
We can. We gonna see. I may have to blur the smoke out or something like that. But no, we. I'm like, it's definitely some people have, and some people, we just chatted. So I leave it up to the person. It's all good. We living on
Okay,
the.
I just want to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. So, whatever you feeling and the time that you feeling, we had to do some magic around it or something like that. If so, we still entering new spaces. People
For sure.
like you and people who out here doing a lot of content are kind of on the front line right now. So many people
Yes.
pages get ripped and stripped and demonetized and so many other things and I mean, people just keep going and keep pushing and finding other ways. So you know how that goes. So we gonna find out pretty much.
For
We're
sure.
gonna find out what's going on with it. But so on your mission again, how is it balancing everything that you're doing again, motherhood?
Okay, so motherhood. First of all, motherhood is amazing. Being a Kenna mom, it's so funny because I'm starting my days now at like 3:45 in the morning. I gotta work out, I gotta meditate, I gotta have my time. And then I'm able to give to my daughter. And then I can give to content creation. And then I can give to high res and everything. So that's really just saying on a to-do list and just scheduling out my day really helps me balance motherhood for real.
And I mean, how do you schedule that out though to the point? I mean, specifically, I want to ask what time you go to sleep? What time is the
Man,
day over with for you?
I'm trying to go to sleep at like 9 o'clock. Sometimes it's 10, but that's like the latest. Unless I'm working, I'm like really trying to meet a deadline.
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep at like 8, 9 o'clock because I get deliveries sometimes when I'm too sleepy and I'm working and it just be like a zombie.
So you put out a lot of THCA content. Tell us about your stance on it for people who aren't familiar with you.
Okay, so I just like to just keep it simple. Like it's called kids. Keep it simple, stupid, right? You have THCA and then you have THC. So when the plant is grown, it's THCA. Once it's burned, it turns into THC. So people be like, I don't want that THCA stuff. However, that's already how it's grown, right? And you can look it up. If you want to argue with me, you can argue in the comments. You know what I mean? That's the information that I got when I was doing my deep, research. And right now, Trump is trying. He's actually in office, trying to change candidates from a level 1 to a level 3. If I'm not mistaken, I hope I didn't say that backwards. But he's trying to change it from a level 1 to a level 3. And what that simply means, he's trying to change it from looking like cocaine to medicine. And once he does that, then it's showtime. So it's time to really get into the THCA industry right now because it's booming and it's hot and it's a lot of opportunity. Like if you think of when the time he changes it, because he's going to do it. That's my standpoint. He's going to do. Trump does what he said he's going to do, and I'm not into politics. But once he does, and if you have a cannabis brand, where are you going to position yourself? If he changes just the medicine tomorrow, is your brand ready? Are you ready to be packaged and sold? you know? So that's just my stance on THCA. That's my definition. And yeah. But I do want to say, as a caveat, you was like how people pages is getting deleted and everything for posting cannabis content. And that's why I really post my dad videos on my story. I try not to post a lot of smoking content on my page because I have been deleted before. But that's why we gotta take our talents to other platforms like Retake. I'm live right now on Retake with my camera sitting up. I'm getting paid in crypto right now. The, the owner of Retake don't care if you smoke it, if you educating about it, if you know what I mean? And I found out about Retake from my crypto mentor, but from X, the platform X. Elon don't give a, you know? And it's a good thing because it's people expressing their creativity. Like, don't let us express our creativity. Let us show you our hobbies without getting to saving. I was talking about something on my stories. and Mark Zuckerberg, I sound like Boosie, but Mark Zuckerberg, they took my stories away. I'm like, damn, Mark, you know what I mean? But I know on other platforms, you just gotta take out callous to other platforms for real. Like it's really time. Like we have to. We gotta educate ourselves on the platform.
Absolutely. And you going so you streaming, you in the streaming world, you taking on
Mhm.
content and just I had to look up because again we like to fact check and all that and I like to do it live instead of just trying to re-record and sit back. So I'm looking at an article now with says despite Trump endorsing Biden administration initiated to push cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule
Mhm.
3 of the Controlled Substance Act. So just clearing up some things earlier, just said. And yeah, no, the content and the movement that you're doing is super important to keep educating people as well as to keep people informed of your lifestyle because I think that's the best education. We can talk about, what a lot of people are doing, but you will really be the owner and champion of your own experience, and you
Yeah.
definitely been showing people. We did get to catch one of the pieces of content where you was getting ready at 3 in the morning, and I believe you was going to Vegas at that time. And I'm like, wow, she just really taking the time to shoot everything. Now, when you shooting all this stuff, do you have one singular phone, or are you a person with two, three phones? How you doing?
So I do have two phones. I feel like Kevin Gates some days, you know. However, I use my pocket. I love using my pocket and I use my camera and my tripod and I just go. And the key to content is really to me, it's like one of the layers to content to me is angles. So I tried to show you I'm brushing my teeth and then I'm over here putting on my little stuff on my stomach and I'm showing you my feet. So if you paid attention to that video, I really took you through like a journey of different angles. Like, okay, I'm on the plane. Okay, now I'm doing it like this, So yeah. Now I do want to ask you too. When you did that fact check, was everything correct from a
Uh,
schedule one to a schedule three?
yeah, no, it was correct. It was just the word schedule. Uh,
Oh, schedule. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's just that word, but definitely,
Okay.
definitely correct. Um,
Okay.
and I mean, we gonna see what the future holds with everything. It's been a long time coming. Just think of people back in the '90s, probably thinking of this time now. They couldn't even imagine where we are now. So, we
Absolutely.
definitely looking to see, the time. And like you said, it was you was fighting a good fight before you was even thinking about all this. You were doing reviews, tapping in with some of the legacy players out there and trying to see what's going on that side. Now, how has that experience prepared you thus far for the next endeavors of the content you've been doing?
It prepared me by just making me have to go learn more, right? It just makes me have to go do more research. Like right now, I have my AI. Like I, I play with AI on the side, so I have AI giving me the news on Trump every day. Like I want to know on the chessboard what did he do? You know what I mean? What's going on? And I'm following it. And if you're gonna be in something, you gotta fall in love with it. So I already was in love with cannabis, but now that I'm educating people on clean consumption and licensing, that's legalese. So now I gotta learn a little bit more. You know what I mean? So it just had me just going within, just taking myself to a whole nother level so I can take people to a whole nother level for real.
Mm. That's definitely interesting and inspiring for sure. And we want to get into a little bit of the collaborations and businesses that you've been doing with brands. Tell the people somebody who's interested in possibly even doing content, meeting brands, how'd you some of your approaches that you take in doing that, as well as what's some of the successes you've been seeing from it.
Okay, so thank you so much. That's a beautiful question, and thank you for asking me that. So, like, in the beginning of the pie, we talked about basically like, well, I mentioned the Flower Expo, and the Flower Expo was one of the first brands to really believe in me and gifted me a media deck, not a media deck, a media pass. So I got on the call. I had fast, slow down, because it's so much, because so much happened. But just being outside networking, that right there is the foundation. Like you got to get outside. I made a post about this. Your next business deal is outside, right? It was outside. So I was outside just rubbing shoulders with some players and they introduced me to somebody and they end up sending me like, hey, you should apply for the Flower Expo. And I'm like, what's the Flower Expo? They're like, oh, it's where B2B businesses come together and network. So I applied for it and I knew it was my time because when I got on the call with, I forget his name, I think it's Ty, but when I got on
Kai
the
Brady.
call, yeah, Kai Brady. When I got on the call with Kai Brady, he's like, okay, tell me a little bit about you. And this was the first time that I really had to say who I was. And I was a little nervous. And once I said, like, I have a YouTube, I do this, he was like, okay, sent over. And I'm like, what? Like, wait a minute. Like, but then right then and there, I knew it was my time. It was just like he could have took me through a job interview. Like how many years, how many this we were just having regular and the reason being is because business is nothing but conversation. We just had a regular conversation and I get the media pass. So from there, I was getting people emails. Like you cannot be afraid. If anybody out there that want to get into content creation, especially in the cannabis world, you cannot be afraid of just going first. Go alone. It's okay. I went alone. I had my camera lady with me, which was my niece. I said, I just need you to hold the camera up and I'm gonna do the rest. I went, I met a lot of people and it just opened the doors and just I do want to add this. The follow-up is in a fortune. Just because you get the email, the number, you still have to follow up. That's where the money at. And the money may not be monetarily just yet. It just be maybe your next opportunity. It may be an interview with High Res with JB. So
And
that's my answer to that.
we was gonna ask about the the money side and all that, but you absolutely right. You had to start going and all that. And to some you said earlier, just on feeling nervous, you're gonna have those feelings, but the things that you're doing is great. The platform that you built it off the hustle and moving. So companies are recognizing that with a lot of creators and realizing, look, we may not be able to hit the news, we may not be able to add dollar amounts in paid advertisement on certain platforms for the risk of being shadow banned and or suspended. But what's happening is it's a complete change in the industry. Even Forbes covered it. Shout out Jungle K. He made the Forbes list of creators. Somebody that's in the city. So it's like understanding that we are the media, we are the news, we are on the forefront that is helping get the names of the brands, the people behind the brands, and just their whole situations out to the people and not just any people. It's a definitely
Yeah.
built up fan bases that we built that's tapped into the things that we say. I'm pretty sure your fan base, they love your content, but they here to protect you as well. They like, we gotta protect Monique by all means. So, they also looking at the things you're saying is law. So, these brands and people and expos and conventions, they understand that and they want their brand and message out there just the same. With that being said, tell us a little bit of how it feels to be, more recognized as you're getting these media passes, as you're getting these invites to places. And then tell us, some of the experiences that you experienced this year that was one of those wow moments like, damn, the content is really hitting. People really embracing my concept.
Man, thank you for that question. Thank you for that question. Just man, like it feels so good to know that hmm, how can I say it? Like a seed, like they always say, like you never know, like when you're born or whatever, you never know what the seed is going to produce. But as long as you put out good seeds, you know it's going to produce a good apple tree, right? You know you're going to get a bunch of apples from this seed that you planted. So I can honestly say, like, it feels good to like be recognized in the cannabis community, for pioneering, the clean consumption space, the THCA space. It feels really good because I really been putting hard work and like long days, long nights, bouncing it all. Like when I was in Vegas, right? I'm gonna put y'all a little bit in my business, but when I was in Vegas, my OG crashed my 2024 truck, right?
Mm.
But I could have been attached to something that wasn't attached to me, and thank God I wasn't. Only thing I was attached to was that content list I had in my notes. Mo, you got 3 pieces of content you gotta put out. This is what you said you was doing. Though one piece of content didn't get put out, the other ones got scheduled and I was happy, you know? So I'm putting in like mental work for real for my brand. So it definitely feel good. And like one of the surreal moments, man, it was just really recently. Like I said, shout out to Daniel. I met him at the 1937 foundation. I had went out there over the summer and they was having I think they had like yoga, like 420 yoga or something. And I came out there and I ended up meeting Daniel. So Daniel ended up asking me, to do some work with him for Social Dispensary out of Chicago. Shout out to John over at Social. Show me mad love. So he was like, "Man, Mom, I'm not gonna lie, we don't have a big UGC budget for you right now. However, if I can get you some Mundelein tickets, would you take them?" And he don't even know. I don't even know if I told him this story, but last year I had reached out to Mundelein and I didn't have a following, and I just had a YouTube, right? And I said, "Hey, can I create content?" I said, "It's a cannabis, situation," and they never got back to me. And to be able to get gifted VIP tickets a year later, I'm like, wow. So I'm in there and I'm networking. I'm meeting good players in there. Starbucks was in there. I ended up seeing their jackets. I forgot. It's a man who gifted me the tickets to Daniel. I met him. He's like, oh, I've been wanting to meet you finally. And I'm just meeting farmers. Like the VIP experience was amazing. I'm like, wow. I met Dr. Dabber. Shout out Dr. Dabber. Like, gave me his number personally. Like, hey, I need you on a team. Like, that's big business. That's cannabis tech. Now I'm going into something different. So those just like, aha, like, wow, God, you really hear me. You really see me. Who am I? They got me on your mind. But I'm somebody. We're all somebody. We just got to believe in ourselves and go to work.
Absolutely. And that's beautiful. The journey is beautiful. It's a lot of people, of course, going to be cheering for you. It's going to be a lot of people doing the opposite. We're not going to think about them because what you're doing is changing the stigma. And I mean, you're hitting a lot of levels on the things that you're talking about. So, stay focused in it. And it seemed like you got that focus. I like the way you put some of the recaps together in a sense where you're pulling from a lot of different places that you've been and just mashing it all into one. So keep that going. Just to ask this question, so you don't mess with alcohol or alcohol brands, or that you keep that away from your brand.
Yeah, so I stay away from BHO for my brand. I stay away from physical like flower that I have to smoke. Now, if I have to go visit a farm and like, okay, yeah, I would do that. However, as far as me smoking, I'm not gonna smoke it. As far as me eating, I'ma always ask like, hey, what extraction process did you use? Because that's important to me. Like I don't want to be eating live resin gummies. That's me. I used to, but I don't want to do it no more. Now that I know that there's hash rosin gummies, you know what I mean? Like I don't have to.
And so back to kind of the education that you do surrounded around THCA. I mean, was this a part of learning about the things that gave you the allergic reactions, or was this something else aside from there that you discovered and was like, okay, I'm gonna really tackle down on this?
Okay, so I was doing my research, like I said, I started my YouTube channel in 2019. So I'm always on YouTube learning. Like I can honestly say I'm a person that does like I'm not gonna call myself a weirdo, but I don't really watch TV, right? Either I'm on social media learning or I'm on YouTube learning or I'm just on platforms learning. So as I'm scrolling, I'm learning more. I'm hearing this buzz, THCA, THCA, and I'm like, dang, what is this? So as I'm doing my research, I'm like, you can get a license. People that like me can get a license. So I'm interested on how to get a license. I found out how to get a license and I took myself through the journey and got my license, right? But I was really the first offer I had for my audience or my community, I call them hippies, was learn how to do a dab, right? I had a few clients that came through and learned how to do a dab. But I wanted people to learn how to do a dab, but then I had to realize that people want to make money, right? Clean consumption is I'm not gonna say it's cute, it's everything to me. However, okay, can they make money right now? Where they can make the money at is the THCA license. Because once you get the license, you can get the online dispensary. You can have a delivery company. You can do live social shopping. Child based smokes. They do live social shopping. like CNBC, TikTok Shop. You can get on there and live sell your cannabis. You see what I'm saying? With this license. So people want to get money today,
Right.
not tomorrow. So when I decided to pivot, I say, okay, let me show the people how to get some money in this industry by just obtaining the license. And the money is the license.
Mm. And break down some of those gems for us, the things that you can for sure share with some of our people, because we definitely like the money.
For sure. For sure, for sure. So like when you say break down the gems, like, okay, I had a call with Neo 510. He's big pioneer of in the cannabis industry. He had a delivery company. If I'm not mistaken, he did about like 3 to 5 million in his delivery company, but he just had a regular cannabis license, right? When I got on the phone with him, he's like, you can get a delivery company with a THCA license as well and do the numbers if you want to, right? However, you can make more money probably marketing in your content. All right. So that's 2 different ways you can make the money. I hope
Right.
you caught it. Well, I dropped down. The second way, like I said, live social shopping. So if you're familiar with TikTok Shop, you can have your plant, your THCA at the bottom of the screen, and you can be rolling it, and you can be talking about it. And on this particular platform that I came across, that Bay Smoke is on, they was on there smoking it, and it's legal.
On
Because they smoke.
you said?
It's like so. When I say, do you know what live social shopping is?
Like, no, I'm not familiar with live social shopping.
Okay, so live social shopping basically is when people sell things live. So when I say live, when I say TikTok, if you
It's like the home shopping network.
right,
You talking about that
exactly.
concept? Home shopping
You can
network
do that with
concept?
weed.
Yeah, that's an old
Hold on.
concept. Yeah.
You can do that with weed now with a THCA license. You can do that right now. This is the times we're living in. This shit is, excuse my language, but it's getting mailed to your front door. People, you're wondering how is people shipping it to people's front door? Is this really legal? It is. It
That's
is.
big.
Like I have my shell up to my online dispensary, right? Because I am in the middle of that's a project that I'm working on, not for jump years, but I don't have any products up there just yet, just because I'm balancing. Do I want to carry weed or do I want to carry the hash? Do I just want to carry hash because I don't smoke it? I don't believe that I should be selling something that I really don't smoke unless you knew me from loud hacks. You know what I mean? Like unless you knew me, if I at least unless you can I can my name hold steady for gas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, so I'm really like kind of on between, but I have my online dispensary up already, ready to go.
Now I want to get back and just rewind a little bit back to the money. So we was talking about making the money specifically from the content. I want you to just dig up into that a little further and talk to the people who interested in knowing about that.
Okay, so as far as the money, I can be honest. I can really be honest. Right now, all my platforms are monetized. So Facebook cuts me a check for creating content. Instagram cuts me a
Cannabis
check.
content. All of this is cannabis content.
All this is cannabis content, for posting pictures. But however, my newest platform I've been on is Retake. I stream, I can be myself, and they pay me in crypto. I know that crypto is the future.
Oh,
There's the money. So why wouldn't I go get the future money? The dollar bills is gonna be exempt in a minute, if you follow what's going on in the world. Don't let me scare you. But you can fact check it. But with technology, it's just what it is. When electricity first came about, people thought it was witchcraft. I learned that from Gary Benedict. People thought it was witchcraft, and then we have to adapt to it. So these are things we're gonna have to adapt to. But honestly, outside of being monetized on my platforms and getting paid in crypto from Retake, I haven't physically received a check from a brand just yet. Like I mentioned before, I recently just turned down a brand deal that was gonna be one of my first paying deals, but I turned them down because they wanted me to smoke weed, and I don't smoke weed. I'll get gifted. I got gifted a whole like a disposable piece that it was some PR. PR is when you get a gifted product and they want to see your content. They like it, they bring you on. But as I was in Michigan doing content, I say, Mo, you don't vape. It's a vape demic. I don't vape. I'm totally against it. You know what I mean? Unless it's a hash pen and the pen, the way the hash pens are made, I don't know the technical words for it, but it's a different way that the device is made where it's not so harsh. You know, I would do something like that. Like it's a whole different model. But as far as like my money is out there for sure. Like I'm pretty sure the money is going to be rolled in. But the money always come last. Right now, I'm getting my name out there. I'm serving these brands.
right. You
I could
building.
easily tell you my media deck and say, hey, I want 700 for any, no, $1,000, no, for what? The money's gonna come last. You can't be so much for the money. I'm out here leaving my footsteps in the ground right now, letting people know you can get your THCA license, you can be black, and you can smoke hash. And they're gonna call you a crackhead, but it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be high as shit, and you're gonna feel good.
That's wild work. That's part of the stigma, right? People calling people crackheads. That adds on to the stigma. Getting into that a little bit, we had compiled some data from social media posts, online articles, and so forth, and that was one of the reasons people just dislike buying weed, not consuming it, but even buying it from the stigma that their peers, friends, family, and so forth would show and call them names as such as you name. What's your thoughts on that?
So that's so funny. So one of my posts had ended up blowing up, where I was like lighting my gas and I was letting my boy try it. We had just shot some content. And I'm like, well, it's time for a honey break. Just do that. It so happened it be the piece of the content you don't expect to go viral. So this video did like 400K views or whatever. And everybody's like, you need all that to get high? And following those comments was Whitney Houston pictures. You're a crackhead. You're Whitney. You're this. And I didn't care because I knew that they was uneducated about consumption. Like this is a way of consumption. But if our people that look like us never seen it before, how do we expect them to accept it or get to know it? Like,
What
you
you
know,
was
so
smoking? You was smoking out of a rig?
yeah, I was smoking.
No, I'm
I was
not
smoking
gonna
out of
lie. I'm not gonna lie, yo. You got me laughing over here because some people scarred from the crack pandemic, epidemic,
the
and they saw that visual. And I had a conversation about this a while ago with some people because just the visual of anything, if they see glass, just glass alone with fire up to it and somebody smoking it, somebody's mind is going to automatically equate it with crack. That's crazy work, though. I ain't gonna lie. That's crazy work,
it's
but it's the truth.
unfortunate. It's But you know what? I can't even agree with you on that, JB, that it's the truth because oh, what happened? Y'all,
I'm here.
the energy. Oh, I was say I don't know. Like my screen just like jumped down. Give me 1 second. Okay, we back. We back. But when you say it's the truth, hold on. Before I disagree with you, what do you mean by it's the truth? What do you mean?
As
Like
far as
people's
when
thought
people,
process
yeah,
or
people thought process when they
okay?
see it
Yeah,
and
for
they
sure.
see it, the
Yes.
glass with the fire, and they automatically equate it to crack off back, off back.
Yes. Off back. And it's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. And when somebody say, "Ooh, that was like crack," I'll be telling them I'm in my spirit. I don't say
That's
it to their face.
crazy work. Crazy work.
And I just say, I'm sorry that your daddy or your granddaddy or your auntie or your favorite cousin did crack. They probably outlived your daddy that did it. And and I'm sorry. You know what I mean? But this ain't the situation that we got going on. You know what I mean? If you like cannabis, if you love it, I found out that it's really intrusive to even walk in a spot. They like Marvin Sapp, and they took the part out of the article because I was sharing this with my community. Marvin Sapp, and he came to Chicago. We got turned away from Ruth Chris because he smelled like weed. Marvin Sapp, the gospel singer, right? But when you read the article now, it doesn't say weed anymore. It just say turned away from Ruth Chris. However, I'm finding that it is kind of intrusive to go into a spot that's 5 stars, 10 stars, smelling like cannabis when you can really smoke your dabs and not smell like it, but still have the effects. You see what I'm saying? And still have a good time. So what is it? Is it the smell? Are
You
people
saying the smell just too dank, huh? It's just too strong a lot of the times, at least in that scenario.
yes, absolutely. Like is it but I'm finding out like
I mean, you got
it's
some
bringing
people.
down.
You got some people who I've learned in time that absolutely hate the smell. Like they can't stand it. And I mean, it does when you walk into a place where, nobody's consuming and you the one that have it all on, you definitely stand out. And then you got people who don't consume at all, who absolutely love the smell. They want it in a candle, they want it in some they don't want to consume. They cool with that, but they just love the aroma of it. I want to ask you a question on something that I seen the other day, and it was interesting to me. And we may ask some other guests this, but I was looking at some videos, and a guy was talking about how consuming is more a spiritual thing, and when you're consuming, you're opening up portals. And definitely whoever you consume with, you could be opening up portals that you wouldn't like for bad spirits and so forth. Um, First, what do you think about, it just being on a spiritual level and opening up portals when you're actually doing it? That's how you're going to these higher places for real. And then, what do you think about the aspect of opening up portals for negative energy and people in sessions that smoke together and so forth? You could be taking, just to be more specific, you could be taking on negative energy, demons, demonic spirits, and all this smoking with the wrong people.
I believe it to be true. I believe it to be true, and the reason being is because one, the plant is female. Hello. The plant it is, and she's very sensitive, and she's very much alive and well. You know what I mean? And I say that to say, I've done bufo before, right? Bufo is cold venom, but it's a spiritual medicine, right? You got to go through shamans to do this medicine, right? And when they do it, I consume it, and then they have to consume it to get on my frequency, right? So when I think about that, and I think about flower, we're ingesting her and then passing her around. Like, I don't want to do that with everybody. Like, some people only smoke out of their rig. They don't let other people smoke out their rig. I got a person that smoke wood. Shout out, blockchain bully. He don't pass his wood at all. Why? Because of spirits. Because the so I don't. You could have been eating boots last night. It did not brush your teeth. Like, it's levels. It's really, what I mean? Like, we're not even thinking. You see what I'm saying? Like, and you're just the energy. That's just like magic mushrooms. I consume some of those from time to time, depending on what level I'm on, what type of frequency I'm on. I'm really trying to tap in and accelerate this thing. And I'm gonna take it, but guess what? I'm not gonna take it around anybody. You feel me? Because the energy do not lie. Energy is transferable. It's transferable and duplicatable. So I don't. Absolutely, it's spiritual. Absolutely, for sure.
So you think for sure it could open up portals to
Yes,
other
it can
negative
open the port.
spirits to kind of latch on
Yes.
you and all that. And I think, we gonna take that question and make it a hot topic, and maybe get some people on the panel because that was an interesting take to me. That was something that I thought in the past, not going deeper and deeper into the subject, but I thought it was definitely something to that, to people's session and sharing, and there was a spirit that's evoked around that. So I definitely want to know what other people think surrounded around that topic. How
And
would
JP, can I add this before you ask your next question? Can I
Uh-huh.
add this?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
remember seeing the I remember seeing a study one time when like your energy fields, while we talking spiritual, like we all have an energy field, right? If I'm sitting next to a person, we're feeding off each other energy. So it's like going like this. So if we're already feeding off each other energy and we're smoking, what else? What else are we? Our spirits are saying yay or nay already while we're standing next to each other. The music, everything is a frequency.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, even down to my locks, I don't let anybody just retwist my hair.
Mm.
Why? Because the energy in my head, I gotta be clear. You see what I'm saying? Like, certain things, like that's just like you at the restaurant and you being mean with the waiter. Don't be mean with the waiter with them. They got my food. Please don't. Because it's the energy. It's the energy. So I think you should have asked that question a lot.
Now, that waiter energy is real though. That's instant sometimes. That's super instant. You get your food back a little slimy after that interaction right there. You're gonna have to leave. You can't even trust it no more for real. Now, I wanted to get into another question that we asked before, since people, obviously, people who are consuming, they actually have to buy at some periods in time. So, we asked people, and we took this data from a poll again of people comments and articles and such. And we just looked at people's sense of frustration and dislike when just buying weed. And here are some of the reasons. We want to see what you think about them. Um, when it comes to kind of the legal market, black market, they looking at health risks, supporting the criminal activity, inconsistent potency and mislabeling, the legal risks, and dealing with sellers. Now just to go further into them was health risk is unregulated cannabis sometimes is not tested for quality and safety measures. Supporting criminal activity, purchasing from the black market. Some people, have quarrels with that. They don't really want to support that market. Inconsistent potency and mislabeling, a little self-explanatory. Legal risks, people traveling with it, the legality of it and depending in their state. And then actually dealing with sellers. The sellers being unreliable sometimes, inconvenient. These are some of the things that people had mentioned as far as their frustration and buying. Have you ever, of course, ran into any of this, or what's your thoughts about it?
I think that is really facts. Mislabeling, man. Like if I'm gonna do a video today on some content about BHO, like a little funny video. But if I ask you if this is hash rosin and you say yes, but this is live rosin, you see what I'm saying? You put hash rosin on there, but you can smell the gas on it. People do mislabel all the time. They say 500 milligrams. You done took it. You done took 50. Now you in the lake somewhere. You know what I mean? Ask to God to take it away. So that's true.
It's nasty.
Working with Daniel, yes, nasty work. Working with Daniel and being at social dispensary and just being in that environment and just seeing how people come in. They come in just like this. I had on in the glasses. They don't want to be seen and they want to be in and out. They don't want to wait. And that's the same thing as like even with the legacy markets. Like if you're a trapper, they don't want to wait. Support your local weed man. Like I'm for support them. You see what I'm saying? Like this is how they feed their family, and they're doing a. Some people are doing their best to source the most quality flower. However, it is dangerous out here smoking from anybody. You know what I mean? Like it's this rep coming in, rep the bull. Like is you just buying this off the street, or does your cousin? Is this somebody your cousin been shopping with for a long time and they got a name for themselves. Like you just can't shop with anybody because people don't have integrity. They damn sure ain't got brand integrity. But if JB was on the street and they say JB the one with the gas and you got to shoot JB, does JB pay it? Absolutely. You see what I'm saying? But you got to start doing your research. But it's mental. It's all mental. It's all mental. Because they thinking about the health risk, but they think about the health risk when they went into McDonald's. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like I'm just it behooves me sometimes. Like,
Now, you getting into my next subject that I was going to ask you because again, we wanted you to come on here and talk to some of the, health and things that you've experienced on the wellness side. So I want to get into another data piece again. We compiled this from comments, articles, and so forth. I'm gonna read it right here.
okay.
Smoking weed with pesticides can cause a range of serious health consequences from immediate respiratory irritation to long term risks like cancer and organ damage. When burned, the chemical residue can transform into more toxic compounds that are directly inhaled into the lungs and bloodstream, which was definitely new information to me. um, and it goes into the acute consequences of smoking pesticide contaminated cannabis can be felt soon after exposure and may include four things here: respiratory issues, coughing, wheezing, throat irritation, burning in the mouth and throat. Systemic symptoms: headaches, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and stomach cramps. Allergic reactions, itching,
Yeah.
skin rashes, and eye irritations. And some intensified effects depending on specific pesticides. High dose exposure can lead to more severe outcomes like hyper excitation, confusion, seizures, or even a coma. Now,
Nasty, nasty.
we compiled this data anticipating we would do this show with you. What's your thoughts on all of that? We interested to hear what you think.
Woo, thank you so much for even bringing awareness to that because people don't even understand that's really what you're getting when you're consuming cannabis right now. No shade, no shade to the dispensary markets, but at the same time, growing the flower and putting juicy buds. This is some of the stuff I've seen people grow with juicy buds or different type of pesticides in the flower. You see what I'm saying? Like it's in there. the weed, almost right there, they're spraying the packs right now with fake terpenes. There are companies that own, it's companies, big pharma companies that just strictly sell terpenes to dispensaries, to black markets. So that when you get it, it can, if it's old, because everything has a shelf life. If it's old or if it came grown different or whatever, they just sprayed it and just tackling it for you. It say gorilla glue, but it smell and tastes like gas great glue. You know, like you like, wait a minute now. So it's definitely out here. I was somebody that was suffering from smoking pesticides because it's clear what you said. I was wheezing, my respiratory. I was having hives, breaking out. This is what happened. I was getting all the matter from the plant. When you're smoking weed, you're getting the matter from the plant. You're getting all the cancers that come with smoking. Smoking hash and smoking weed is two different smokes. It just is. It oils your lungs. So those are my thoughts.
So you definitely, of course, you had experience with the allergic reactions. And then when you were having the reactions, it says a range from itching, skin rashes, eye irritation. Tell us some of the symptoms specifically you was having. And we know that your doctor said just leave it alone for a while. But what did that look like for you?
So is what did it look like for me? That's a good question. Thank you, JB, for that. When I would go down to break the flour down or whatever, because we want to break it, we want to smell it, we want to put it all on our face. I would instantly start sneezing,
Mm.
and now I'm making that noise like, like when your allergies like
Your
itching.
throat
I'm
itching.
like, okay, yeah, I'm like, what's going on here? But
You got me laughing. My mama be doing that sound.
yeah, I still do it depending on what's going on. And I would be doing that, and then next I'll be itching and I would get hives because I just took my hand that I just touched the weed with, and I touched my face because now it's like in my eyes, like the gassy or the fake spray, whatever it is. You know what I mean? That's an eye, so I'm rubbing my eyes, and now I'm just red, I'm flushed, I'm hivey, I'm itchy, and it's just uncomfortable. And I still gotta smoke this. Nah, pass me the glass, baby. Like I'm straight.
So you like, until uh further notice, this is the clean type of consumption that you taking in the path and all that. Um, how let the people know how they can reach out to you and contact you. If they, want to follow up with you and or people who ain't familiar with the content and want to check you out, let them know how they can reach you.
So you can reach me first before I give you that. First, I want to say thank you again, JB, for just I just got to give you honor and homage. Like high res is on his way. When Trump do pass that bill, I pray that high res is right there in position. To be one of the number one brands for cannabis consumers or educators. Be the place, the hub we need. So thank you so much. But you can all find me at FIG at Monique the Great, retake.tv or retake.tv at Hippie Vibes, X at Hippie Vibes, YouTube Hippie Vibes. And then if you want to go on Instagram and find me at Hippie Vibes again, you can. And that's HIPPIEDIBZZ. So that's where you can find me. Yeah.
And no, we definitely want to keep the conversation rolling. This won't be the last time. We definitely got to invite you back to match my smoke. So there you have it, folks. We got a lot more that we could talk about, but we ain't gonna burn it all here. We need y'all to tap back in. Monique the
Yes.
Great, founder of Hippie Vibes. She just matched our smoke. We appreciate you. We want you to stay here tapped in with us. We about to close out. Peace.
Peace, 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 peace.